Hey guys, my persuasive speech is about having more thorough background checks on guns. As a gun enthusiast and future law enforcement officer, I love guns, and I think owning and shooting guns as a hobby or owning one to have if needed for self-defense is great and shows that you're honoring your Second Amendment right. However, owning or obtaining a firearm without proper background check is not so great. Background checks are put in place as credibility to let a licensed firearm seller know you're responsible enough to own a firearm. But background checks don't go in depth enough. When bought through private sellers or gun shows, you don't have to have a background check, so it gives anyone the ability to purchase a firearm. Having more thorough background checks would prevent private seller loophole and potentially reduce gun crime. Violence and crimes are growing in number and affecting American society. By reinforcement background checks, we could reduce crimes and limit easy gun access to mentally ill people. The National Instant Crime Criminal Background Check System, also known as NICS, is a database where the names of people that have committed a misdemeanor or mentally ill or drug abusers is kept to prevent them from attaining guns. Most criminals buy guns from unlicensed sellers at gun shows that don't do proper background checks through the NICS, making it easier for criminals to purchase firearms. Another problem is missing records or information that was not reported to the background check system. Though more than 90% of the American public supports background checks for all gun sales, a dangerous and deadly loophole in federal gun law still exempts unlicensed sellers from having to perform any background check whatsoever before selling a firearm. With this loophole, guns easily find their way into the hands of illegal buyers and gun traffickers, dramatically increasing the likelihood of gun murders and suicides. These people usually go to gun shows to sell firearms, and many people refer to this as the gun show loophole. But these vendors don't always have to go to gun shows. They can use classified ads or the internet to sell firearms without a background check. According to a recent study, experts estimate that over 6 million guns a year, perhaps 40% of all sales, are made by unlicensed private sellers not subject to the law. A gun show loophole is a political term in the United States referring to the sale of firearms by private sellers, including those done at gun shows that do not meet federal background check requirements. This is dubbed the private sale exemption or secondary market. Federal law requires background checks for commercial gun sales, but not for private party sales, whereby any person may sell a firearm to an unlicensed resident of the same state as long as they do not know or have reasonable cause to believe the purchaser is prohibited from receiving or possessing firearms under federal law. Under federal law, private party sellers are not required to perform background checks on buyers, record the sale, or ask for identification, whether at a gun show or other venue. Here's an example. I'm a middle-aged male who has had multiple felony weapon assault charges. My name is put into a background check system with a note explaining my weapon charges. So when my name is pulled up in a background check, a red flag pops up, letting this firearm seller know that I'm a convicted felon and cannot purchase firearms, so therefore the seller now knows and denies my purchase. I show up to a gun show where no one knows me, I find a firearm I like, and hand the seller cash. Just like that, the sale is complete, and I now own a firearm and didn't have to go through a background check to get it. Making background checks mandatory for all firearm sales, private or commercial, would prevent this from happening. There are 11 states, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington, and the District of Columbia require universal background checks at the point of sale for all sales and transfers of all classes of firearms, whether they are purchased from a licensed dealer or an unlicensed seller. No matter where you purchase a firearm, from a commercial seller with a federal firearms license or a private seller at a gun show, firearm sales need to have a background check before handing over the weapon. It will reduce the risk of crime because it's credible and doesn't let anyone and everyone come purchase a firearm.